Welcome back to Market on Close. Let's continue to probe into today's action, find some of the winners, losers, and try and figure out what this market is saying about the potential for an economic reopening. Scott Bauer is the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, back here with us this afternoon. Scott, I wanted to start by just doing a little follow-up from NVIDIA. We talked about it yesterday, your trade in Iron Condor. The stock has had an interesting intraday session, so walk me through how you managed that trade today.
You know what? Fortunately, I have not had to do anything about it. And we've got, 25 minutes left today. And as long as the stock stays relatively calm here and doesn't make a massive move, the Iron Condor, which I sold yesterday, is going to go out worthless. So if you remember, Oliver, we sold both a put spread. We sold the 345, 340 put spread. We also sold the 395, 400 call spread. We did that. The expected move yesterday going into earnings was about $26. This had a little bit of a bullish bias to it, which we talked about yesterday. But as long as the stock remained between 345 and 395, I was collecting everything that I sold it for, which was about $2.25 yesterday. Stock is right there. I mean, it's, been ticking up a little bit today. They had a phenomenal report. They did affirm their guidance, which we had talked about as well. And so I'm not going to, fortunately, have to manage this at all. And at the end of the day today, the $225 that I collected for selling one Iron Condor yesterday is going to go down to zero, and I get to keep it all.
So NVIDIA was pricing in a big move, basically. Even with the 2% gain today, you're still good. You're in the clear.
As long as, like I said, over the next 20 minutes or so, we don't get to 345 or 395, this thing goes out worthless. It goes out at zero. These are options that expire at the end of the day today. Now, if I was concerned in terms of, let's say the stock was trading down maybe 347-ish, close to my short strike on the downside, or close to the short strike on the upside around 395, I would absolutely go in and close those options for a couple pennies or whatever, it would be. But right here, this is just sitting, right in the middle of the jackpot zone.
Yeah. All right. Nice trade, Scott. Let's talk more about what we saw today in this week. All the excitement kind of fizzled out here. Not to say we don't love analyzing the intraday, but the big move seemed to be on Monday, Scott. The hope for reopening and the potential for a vaccine to accelerate some of the beaten down areas of our economy.
Yep.
That has not undone itself, but it also hasn't extended. What do you think, and what are you looking for going into this long weekend about the way the market is kind of handling this potential for reopening?
Yeah, I think there's a little caution as well that there should be. It's a big holiday weekend. Are people going to be out and about this weekend, even if they really shouldn't be yet? Right? What are we going to see come Monday for Memorial Day? I do like the fact that we're kind of drifting just a little bit lower today, and that we're not seeing a lot of exuberance. If we get through the weekend and we get to Monday evening and the futures opening up, and then Tuesday morning, and we haven't seen any spikes, if things have not escalated with China, we probably move higher. The one thing that really makes me think that, Oliver, is because even with the market a little bit softer today and a little bit of pressure, if you look at volatility, if you look at the VIX, it's actually down today.
Mm-hmm. So we don't have a big sell-off going into a long weekend either, which has got to be worth something too, right? The fact that this market now is comfortable. I mean, if we had the 3-day weekend, we did have a 3-day weekend early on in this going, and it was a bloodbath, like Friday after Friday.
Right.
Markets just couldn't hold it together with all the risk out there.
Yeah, I mean, the market has been extremely resilient. Did we follow up on Monday's big gains? No, but we really have not given back much either. And think about what we saw during the week today in terms of economic news and in terms of, geopolitical risk with China. Not good. More unemployment claims, continuing claims just being disastrous, meaning people aren't getting back to work. Housing numbers, which were disastrous. Obviously an escalation here with China, and the market really hung in here this week. So again, look at VIX. I know you have it up on the screen right now. Look at VIX. The sentiment right now is, not a ton of fear out there.
Scott, if you knew that there was a reopening that was going to go much faster? Let's say you've got a crystal ball and you know there's going to be a vaccine announcement or something. What do we learn
Yes.
about how you want to be positioned there? If you had that information, what would you do besides maybe own the stock that came up with the vaccine? Do you go long banks,
Right.
long crude oil, short bonds? I mean, what do you do?
So if I had that crystal ball, there's three areas in specific I'd look at. Banks, financials for sure. I'd be all over a JP Morgan, all over a Goldman Sachs, maybe even look at the XLF. More so than that, individual stocks or individual other sectors I'd be looking at. I want to look at a Starbucks. I'd look at a stock like a Live Nation, places where people are going to gather again once it's safe, which may not happen until there is a vaccine. So you look at entertainment stocks, and certainly Disney is in, that realm as well. But those stocks, especially Live Nation and Disney, I think in the longer run, those are great plays for the longer run. I just don't see in the near future until, like you said, we have the hope of a vaccine on the horizon that those stocks really can gain that much, though I do like them longer term. Starbucks, though, is one with the reopening and with, 50 states now having partial reopenings and the Starbucks drive-throughs working. That's one to me that is really has a lot of near-term upside potential.
Okay. Scott, appreciate the insight. Love the stock-specific analysis here and the update on the trade from yesterday. Managing Options Trade, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy.